الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sorry to busy you guys on a school night. I wouldn't even consider doing anything on a school night. But alhamdulillah, I think that this conference it deserves its share of attention. So what I wanted to just talk about, I'm only going to be on for about a half an hour. I'm not going to take an hour, 2 hours to to address what needs to be addressed today. We're talking about unity in our ummah. Unity is strength and division is weakness. And this is a weekend of Islamic knowledge, Friday, October 20th, 21st, and 22nd. That is this October, starting Friday, October 20th, 22nd, and Sunday, the 21st, 22nd. All right, so this is a weekend conference that will be going on at the Atlantic City Convention Center. All right. The Jumu'ah khutbah will be held there. Some of the speakers include Abu Usama al-Dhahabi, who was no stranger to our communities. Walillahi alhamd. Sheikh Abu Usama al-Dhahabi. Muhammad Mufti Munir, no stranger to our communities. Muhammad ibn Ahmed, many of you know him. He's well-traveled, and whether in the African American community or any other community. He used to be the imam in Bunton, New Jersey. Alhamdulillah, Muhammad ibn Ibrahim has been very vocal in assisting the communities and trying to work themselves out of this hole that we've been in for a while. And he will be in attendance, inshallah ta'ala. Saeed Abu Sajid, Turks. And this is a recent graduate from Ummah al-Qura University in Mecca. Ali Davis, who also no stranger to the community, another graduate from the Ummah al-Qura University. Abdullah Abu Dhahira Smith, who is also a native of Atlantic City, and he is also a graduate from the Islamic University of Medina. Abu Muslima, alhamdulillah, will also be in attendance, who is also the Imam of Masjid Ahlus Sunnah, Madrasatu Ahlus Sunnah, and he is also a graduate from the Islamic University of Medina. So as you can see, you have a large, group of imams, and I think that we have a couple of more imams that will be added to the list, inshallah ta'ala. But as you can see, every single one of these imams, every single one of these students of knowledge are graduates with degrees from prestigious Islamic universities. This is not your run-of-the-mill, let me throw together a conference with, every, Joe Schmo, right? This is not that type of conference. This is a conference where everyone that is on this list are qualified, skilled, experienced imams and some on some level, and their repertoire, precedes them. You can look at, from Ali Davis and Abu Sajid, from Athamarat and their newly established Islamic Center, Imam Muslim Islamic Center. You can look at Imam Abu Musa, who's been the Imam of Ahlus Sunnah for well over 20 years. Imam Muhammad ibn Ibrahim ibn Ahmed, has been around for many years. Imam Abu Usama al-Dhahabi, who has left his mark here in, the American communities as well as abroad in communities in the UK, as well as, other places that he has traveled to. So this, this conference is not, it's not your average conference. This conference is going to be Friday, October 20th, Saturday, October 21st, and Sunday, October 27th. So the weekend of October 20th. The weekend of October 20th, and this will be the Sheraton Atlantic City Convention Center. All right. The prices for singles is $49. For couples, $99. And the vending fee for those of you who are merchants, those of you who are business entrepreneurs and would like to come and vend, the vending fee is $150. The Islamic Weekend Conference, you can go to their Eventbrite page for ticket room. The rooms are under the block of Islamic Weekend Conference. All right. We also have Sister Susie Ismail, who will be there Saturday morning for a Sisters Only event, as well as Sister Najma and Sister Islah. All right. Sister Islah. The weekend of October 20th. Yes. All right. So that is the lineup for the conference. So let me tell you why this conference is important. All right. Will it be taped? I'm sure it will be, inshallah. I don't know if it'll be live streamed, because this is a conference that, costs money. So I don't know. There is a flyer. You can go to their Facebook page, Islamic Weekend Conference on Facebook. Go to their Facebook page, Islamic Weekend Conference on Facebook. You can also access the Eventbrite page from their Facebook page, inshallah. From their Facebook page, you will be able to access. Will it be on CD? I'm sure. I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be. So let me just tell you why this conference is so important. Number one, if you look at the majority of the speakers, of course your kids can come. Of course, it's a family event. It's a family event, of course. Whether there will be if there will be child care, I'm not sure. I don't know if Sister Zakia, if you're on, can you answer that, whether or not there will be child care available? I'm not sure of. It's in Atlantic City Convention Center. The flyer is on their Facebook page. Please don't make me keep repeating myself. The flyer is on their Facebook page. You can go to their Facebook page, Islamic Weekend Conference on Facebook. All of the details that you need is on there. Okay, Sister Zakia said, no, there is no child care. So if you bring your children, you're going to have to keep your children with you. All right? So let me say real quick why, a conference of this, of this caliber is important. What do you notice about all of the speakers on the flyer? What do you notice about all? You were told by a registration rep that there's no rooms available for Saturday. Are there any other hotels? We will try to have a room for the kids in between the prayers for kids to go into. Sister Zakia, are there any other hotels available? Someone said that someone told them that there were no rooms available for Saturday. Okay, so some of you said all of them are credentialed. Some of you said all of them are African American. Not all of them, with the exception of one. Muhammad Ibrahim is not African American. All right, but the vast majority of African American. All of them are black graduates. All of them have been warned against. Thank you, Sister Jessica. Jessica cares in the building. Right. So all of these speakers, not only are they African American, not only are they degree holders, right, from prestigious Islamic universities, but these are all imams, students of knowledge who have been warned against. Some longer than others. All right. And the thing about it is we're talking about reclaiming our communities, right? They were all refuted by the cult, right? Salafi Publications cult, right? Sister Zakia says Showboat's rate is about $118 a night. So if you want to book a room at the Showboat Hotel in Atlantic City, their rates are about $118 a month, a night. All right. So that is the most important thing I want to highlight, that all of these speakers have been warned against, right? All of these speakers are African American, with the exception of one, and all of them are degree holders, right? And all of them have been told that they cannot give dawah, or they should not be giving dawah, that they should not be teaching, that they're not qualified to be teaching, right? With the exception of Abu Sajid. I don't think that that has come his way. And I pray that he never has to experience that. But for the most part, all of these speakers have been spoken about, you know, yeah. And the funny thing about it is they've been spoken against by vast majority of people who they themselves, you know, have no degree, have no ijazah, have no qualifications other than, you know, being self-appointed to speak. All right. But I'm not going into that. I want to concentrate on the necessity of this particular conference, the necessity of this, of this conference. This is very important. This is not just an average conference where we're going to go to an Islamic event and we're going to, you know, learn some information about Islam. Nah, this is bigger than that. This is bigger than that, because some of these speakers that are on this flyer have not shared a podium, or have not shared a stage, or have not shared the same space in decades. In decades. Some of these speakers, right, have not shared the same stage, have not shared the same space in decades. And the reason why, part of our dysfunction is as a result of our disunity. You can never build anything without unity. We thought, this is what we thought as African American Muslims. We thought, okay, this person is warned against, so we'll push him off to the side. We're not going to take from him. We're not going to take from him. We're not going to take from him. So we thought that we were going to have some, progression. We was going to have some forward movement, individually, with these little pockets of communities here or there, this imam over here, these group of people over there. You understand what I'm saying? We really thought that we were going to have some type of upward mobility, being fragmented and separated the way that we were. And now 20 years have gone by, and we can see how that worked out for us. We can see how that turned out for us. 20 years have gone by. Since 1998 all the way up into almost 2018. And we can see that the fragmentation and the disunity hasn't yielded us anything. Nothing. Nothing has come about as a result of that. And of course, and to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results is what? It's insanity. That blueprint did not work. It didn't work. And I mean, to be honest with you, I will take it back as far as Abu Muslim's community. And the thing about it is that as African American Muslims, we're just so easily led astray. We're so easily miseducated because we didn't have to leave that community the way that we did. We did not have to leave Masjid Ahl Sunnah, Madrasa to Ahl Sunnah the way that we did. We didn't have to do that. We let a scholar who was fed falsified information, who was, driven by his own desire to, have dominance over, poor African American communities, because no other community gave him that level of leverage. No other community, Arab, Pakistani, otherwise, no other community gave Sheikh Rabia. Yes, and I'm very clear about that. No other community handed him the keys to their community other than African Americans. We ran with that. Sheikh Rabia said this, Sheikh Rabia said that, and we ran with that. And no other community gave him that level of jurisdiction, that level of authority over their communities, but the poor black African American communities. Sheikh Rabia said, don't pray at Masjid Ahl Sunnah. This was a community that many Muslims poured thousands and thousands of dollars. Brothers wrote checks for upwards of $100,000 to purchase that building in East Orange, New Jersey. Brothers wrote checks for upwards of 100,000. A brother wrote a check for $250,000. People were leaving their homes in New York and migrating to East Orange. People were traveling all around the country to migrate to East Orange, New Jersey, to be a part of this community, only to have a scholar, a sheikh, who was fed some falsified information about Imam Abu Musa, and to issue a statement, subhanallah al-azim. And even before Sheikh Rabia, Sheikh Yahya Hujuri, who actually took the reins of that movement, and spoke about Imam Abu Musa the way that he spoke about him in a language, wallah al-azim, that no scholar would, nobody with an inkling of ilm would have ever accepted even the terminologies that was used to describe Imam Abu Musa. A person who left Kufr, left Jahiliyyah, converted to Islam, and then went to the land of the Muslims to learn his religion, to come back and teach his people Islam, only to have a scholar refer to him, in the terms, wallah al-azim, I can't even repeat some of the stuff that was said about him. Only to have the same Sheikh Rabia, turn around and warn against Yahya Hujuri. So it's like, okay, well, do we turn around now and just totally invalidate everything that Sheikh Yahya Hujuri said? Because Sheikh Rabia called him a deviant. Sheikh Rabia called him all types of things. You understand what I'm saying? So you have one sheikh who spoke about this particular imam, and then you had another sheikh who spoke about that sheikh who spoke about that imam. So it's just like, it's mind-boggling. It's like, so do we just totally overlook what Sheikh Yahya said? And no, we kept going with it. We're like, oh no, but Sheikh Yahya said it. And then if someone quoted Sheikh Yahya, then someone else would refute you and say, well, Sheikh Rabia said, it's wallah al-azim, it's like the mouse on the wheel, just going round and round and round. We're like a dog chasing its tail as a community. And it yielded nothing but confusion. Going back to my initial statement, my initial quote from Brother Umar Johnson, that the greatest enemy to progress is confusion. Because if you keep a people confused, they will do nothing. Confused people do absolutely nothing. You understand what I'm saying? We abandon a building that we purchased for upwards of $1 million, $1 million+ of our hard-earned money that we paid for. Probably one of the biggest Islamic centers in America at the time that we paid for. There was no riba. People didn't go to La Riba. They didn't go to any of these organizations, these Islamically financial institutions. They didn't go to any of those institutions to purchase that building. They purchased that building with straight up cash in hand, only to have a scholar who was fed falsified information tell you, don't pray there anymore. Wallah al-azim, I kid you not. Insane. A brother who used to live right directly across the street from Ahlus Sunnah would not step foot in the masjid. He would pray in his garage. That's insane. He and a group of brothers would pray in their garage. The adhan would be called in the masjid across the street. He would not step inside that masjid and pray. Rather, he would pray in the garage. They would establish their own jama'ah in the garage. You tell me, is this something that the Prophet ﷺ would have ever approved of? The Prophet ﷺ would have never approved of this type of behavior. The building is still standing. Alhamdulillah, I spoke with Imam Abu Musa maybe a couple of months ago. I just happened to be in the East Orange area and stopped by to pay him a visit. And Imam Abu Musa, he said that there was a deficit. There was a deficit in the masjid. And then when he finally took control of the masjid, there is no deficit. Masjid Ahlus Sunnah doesn't have any deficit. And they're doing fine. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They are doing fine. The community is fine. But the point that I'm making is, how did we allow that to happen? Something that we paid for. And then we turned around and we abandoned a community that we paid for. A building, we left it abandoned, something that we paid our money for. You understand what I'm saying? And the sad thing about it is that the scholars from Saudi Arabia will say, don't go there and pray because you don't want to increase the ranks of the Hizbis. And don't go there and pray because you don't want to do this or you don't want to do that. And the sad thing about it is that the masjids in Saudi Arabia are not Salafi. The masjids in Saudi Arabia are not Salafi. The Prophet's masjid, there's a whole group of Shiites that pray in the Prophet's masjid. There's Sufis that pray in the Prophet's masjid. I mean, like, you got to be kidding me. You would warn people, Muslim minorities, and on top of being Muslim minorities, African American minority Muslims. We're a small, we're an ummah within an ummah. Muslims in America are minorities. African American Muslims are even more of a minority. You understand what I'm saying? Ridiculous. And you would stretch all the way to America and tell them not to pray in this particular masjid. And you say nothing, about the Shiites that are right there in the Prophet's masjid. Sufis that are right there in the Prophet's masjid. You understand what I'm saying? It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. And we abandoned that community. And we have nobody to blame but ourselves. We have nobody to blame but ourselves, man. Once again, miseducated. Once again, we've allowed ourselves, as I mentioned the quote by Carter G. Woodson, man, so profound. When you make a person feel inferior, they will automatically take an inferior position. Automatically. You let somebody from a whole other country understand nothing about your culture, understand nothing about your day-to-day struggles, understand nothing. Tell you not to go to a masjid and pray that you paid your money for. Insane, man. Insane. You know what I mean? And, it's sad, man. It's sad. It's sad, man. So the point that I'm making, man, is yes, divide and conquer. And we have been divided and we have been conquered. We have been divided and we have been conquered. It is very sad. The sad state of affairs. And the only thing that we can do is to go back and try to piece it back, put the pieces back together and try to make sense of everything that just happened within the past 20 years. It's just like, I just had a light bulb moment. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, what is the profit of this hate? You know what I mean? Like, what are they profiting? Because by keeping us confused, by keeping us stagnated, by keeping us stifled, you never have to worry about one of us assuming a position of leadership. I mean, when you look at our ranks, there has always, a leader from amongst us has always arisen. A leader has always risen from amongst us, our ranks. And I'm saying as African Americans, we've always, in every single time, in every era, a leader has always risen amongst us. But that hasn't happened in 20 years, man. That hasn't happened in 20 years, man. You know what I mean? And we drank the Kool-Aid. We drank the Kool-Aid. Every time they said, don't listen to this one, we said, oh, I don't take from him. You don't know why. You don't know why you don't take from him. You have somebody else come to you from a whole nother country, doesn't even know the person that they telling you. If I was standing in front of any one of them sheikhs and they said, and you said, you know who this is, they couldn't tell you who I was. They couldn't tell you who I was. But somebody who doesn't know your circumstance, your situation, doesn't even care about your circumstance, your situation, and tell you not to take from somebody, from your community, your society. Like, if you're going to tell me not to take from somebody, then that must mean that you're going to come to my community and educate me. You're going to be the replacement. And you damn sure are not going to tell me don't take from this person and then replace him with somebody who is twice as ignorant as he is. You've got to be kidding me. In what world does that even make sense? You're going to say don't take from him, but take from him who was 2 times ignorant than he is. It's like, where do they do that at? Please tell me. Right? So this, this conference, yeah, well, we should all feel bamboozled. We should all feel bamboozled. We were run amok. We were bamboozled once again, because while Abu Muslima's community was fragmented and dismantled in terms of the community, the building is still there, but the community is not there. So while we have been, fragmented, brothers, moved from East Orange down to Atlanta, brothers moved to North Carolina, brothers moved to all over the place, moved to Philly, moved to, Wilkesboro, Pennsylvania. We fragmented all over the place, looking for a community to be a part of, when in fact we had one of the strongest Islamic communities in America. We had one of the strongest Islamic community. Some people moved out of the country, absolutely. We had one of the strongest Islamic communities in America. You know what I mean? And, we left a building, a community that we built on the word of somebody who really could care less about our condition. And in the process of that, we lost 2 generations of children. The children that were about 14, 15 at the time that happened, right? The children that were about 14, 15 when that happened, right now are about 35, 34, 35. Many of them are nowhere to be found. And many of them are married and have children of their own, or have children of their own, and their children are nowhere to be found. Many of the children who went to Masjid Ahl Sunnah, Madrasa to Ahl Sunnah school, many of the children who went to that school, my wife went to that school. One of my wives went to that school. Many of the children who went to that school today are nowhere to be found in anything Islamic. In anything Islamic. Nothing. Many of them left Islam. And I'm sure many of them have children today. My wife is a product of that school. And our oldest child is 16 years old. My oldest child is 16 years old. So think about the children that were a part of that community. Think about those children. So you understand what I'm saying? Like, we lost 2 generations of children because of that. And, it comes a time when we say, okay, enough is enough. We're not losing any more generations. As a matter of fact, we're going to go back and get the generations that we lost. Absolutely. We coming, like you brothers and sisters that have been hurt by this stuff, we coming back for you, man. No child get left behind in our communities. No child. No child get left behind in our communities. For you brothers and sisters that were hurt by all of this fitna, by all of this drama, right? We're coming back for you. Things are changing. Things are changing. Times are changing. You no longer have to be unmasked. You no longer have to be unmasked. Things are changing. And we're coming back for our children. Because the same sheikhs that told us don't pray in Masjid Ahl Sunnah, the same scholars that say don't pray there, the same scholars that said don't take from Abu Musa, the same scholars that said whatever the case may be, ask those same scholars, as a result of everything, all of the fatwa that you gave, all the Islamic rulings you gave about that community, about those imams, as a result of that, we lost 2 generations of our children. And see what he says. See if they give a damn. See if they care. We lost 2 as a result of following your fatwa, as a result of following your warning against Abu Musa, against this one, against that one, against this masjid, and against that masjid. Those masjids were safe havens for our children. Those masajid were safe havens for our children. Those masjids, the trolls that are on Facebook Live, ignore them. Once the lecture is over, I'll go back and I'll delete and block them. You won't even see their comments anymore. Ignore them. Don't give them that attention. Because the fact of the matter is that you have some people from amongst us who don't want to see us, don't want to see us progress. Some from amongst us, even African American Muslims, who don't want to see us progress. And they themselves don't take from anybody. They don't want to see us progress. They don't want to see us move forward. It's distracting. Just ignore them and just pay attention to the message. You don't have to keep looking at the messages. Just pay attention. And, you know, we can, you know what I mean, like on the Facebook Live, when I try to block them, it's just, it creates a problem with my phone. But you have those from amongst us who, you know, they don't want to see us progress. But the same scholars that told us to stay away from this masjid, to stay away from this imam, to do this or to do that, ask those same scholars, what do we do about the 2 generations of children that we lost as a result of following your warnings against this imam? What do we do about that? How do we get our children back in the masjid? I never forget one time we were at Sheikh Ubaid's house one time, and he was doing an open, you know, question and answer call. And a sister called and she said, you know, I'm a new convert to Islam. Pay attention to this. This was the first thing that kind of opened my eyes and started making me kind of just see things from a different perspective. Sister called, you know, I forgot who was actually translating for the sheikh. They were translating the call. And the sister said, you know, I'm a new convert to Islam. And, you know, I live with my mother, and my mother is not a Muslim. And she always has bad things to say about Islam and bad things to say about me. What should I do? How should I deal with my mother? And I never forget, Sheikh Ubaid said, your mother is ignorant. He said, Ummuki jahila. Your mother is ignorant. He said, and your mother is an enemy to Islam. He said, and it is upon you to move out of the house of your mother so that, you know, you can practice your religion in peace. Wallah al-Azim, I dropped my head and I said, oh my God, I couldn't believe what I just heard. You just sat here and told this woman who is a new convert to Islam that her mother is ignorant. Her mother is ignorant. And she need to move out of her mother's house so she can practice her religion without any drama or fitna. I mean, need I say any more? You called my mother ignorant. And although that might be true, my mother may be a bit ignorant of Islam. My mother may be. But as a scholar who is supposed to be Rabbani, you know, you nurturing people with the smaller matters of knowledge before the major matters of knowledge. As a scholar, a Rabbani, that you pride yourself on being this scholar who caters to the needs of African Americans, of American Muslims. Don't you think that your language should have been just a tad bit more diplomatic? You call the woman's mother ignorant? And then tell the woman to move out of the house with her mother because her mother is an enemy to Islam. And this is exactly why you have many new shahadas, new converts to Islam that, you know, refer to their own parents as kafirs, as a disbeliever. How dare you refer to your mother or your father in such terms? The Prophet ﷺ knew his mother was going to the hellfire for eternity. He knew it. He went to his mother's grave. They were returning from a journey, and he stopped and he went to his mother's grave. He went to his mother's grave and he sat down by her grave and he began to cry. He began to weep profusely. And one of the Sahaba came over to the Prophet ﷺ and said, "O Messenger of Allah, you know, why are you crying? Like, what is the significance of this place where you stopped at?" And the Prophet ﷺ said, "My mother is buried here. My mother is buried here." He said, and I'm crying because I remember that my mother died as a mushrik, as an idolater. My mother died as an idolater. And she's going to the hellfire. This was his own mother. And you're telling this girl, this new convert to Islam, that her mother is a jahila, is an ignoramus, and her mother is an enemy to Islam? Subhanallah al-Azim, man. Wallahi, when I heard that, that was, for me, that was enough. I began at that point to slowly start backing away from, you know, these circles, because I saw it for what it was. Yes, Abu Muslima has been saying what I'm saying for years, but Abu Muslima was before his time. And so as it stands, when anytime somebody is before their time, they always get shot with the arrow from their own people. He's a martyr. We martyred him. We killed him. He was way before his time. Abu Muslima is saying many of the things that I'm saying. But the atmosphere is different now. And some of the things that I'm saying now, I've been saying for 10 years. It just so happens that this very moment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of his names is Al-Fattah. That's one of Allah's names, Al-Fattah. And he is the opener. He is the one that grants entry into certain spaces. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, قَدْ فَتَحَ عَلَيْنَا فِي هَذَا الْوَقْتِ. Allah has just so happened to open it up for us at this time. And now the minds of the people are actually open, and they can actually hear what I'm saying. Yes, Abu Muslima said many of the same things. Many of the same things. Absolutely. But he said them at a time where people were not ready to hear them. And when you are not ready to hear something, right? We hate, what we don't understand, and we envy what we can't conquer. We hate what we can't conquer, and we are enemies to the things that we can't change. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we all turned our backs on him, man. And all he ever wanted was good for us. Provided, sometimes, in the middle of that, and I can understand that frustration because I've been there. In the middle of that, he began to, turn on the same people that was part of his community because he saw them to becoming now, his enemy. But the fact of the matter is that we were sheep. We were sheep just following along, just wanted to be, we just wanted to be, with the in crowd. The sheikhs are saying this. We just wanted to be down with the sheikhs. Even if we went against our own better conscience. Even if we went against our own moral conscience. Our moral conscience was telling us, yo, this joint is wrong. It's wrong. Something ain't right about this. But we went along with it anyway. We went against our own moral conscience. And anytime you go against your own moral conscience, you're going to suffer the consequences of that. And here we are today having this discussion. Here we are today having this discussion without a doubt. We went against our own moral conscience, man. Absolutely. And we're suffering the consequences of it. And so are our children and many of our grandchildren suffering the consequences of going against our own moral conscience. Some of the same scholars who warned against Abu Muslima today are themselves warned against. Like, think about that. Some of the same scholars, and it's the same thing with Malcolm, right? Malcolm said something at a time that many in the Nation of Islam didn't want to hear. Malcolm said that Elijah Poole was not the messenger of Allah. He wasn't the messenger of Allah. But he said it at a time that people were not ready to hear it. And they killed him for it. And many of the people who assassinated Malcolm, whether they assassinated him physically or they assassinated his character, many of them are not even part of the Nation of Islam. You think about that for a second. You think about that. Many of the people who killed Malcolm X are not even a part of the Nation of Islam now. Subhanallah al-Azim. You killed a man for something that at a time you were not willing to accept, and today you accept it, but the man is already dead. You already assassinated him. And we did the same exact thing with Abu Muslima. See, our problem as African Americans is that we don't know how to take the good. We like to throw the baby out with the bathwater. When we want to take a different direction, we totally invalidate everything that came before it. Because we are so concentrating on the new that the old doesn't even matter anymore. So we were looking at, okay, now we're taking from the scholars, we're taking from the sheikhs. So everything that Abu Muslima was trying to do, the direction, Abu Muslima did exactly to the Sunni Salafi community what the Nation of Islam did for black people. He cleaned us up. When he came into East Orange, it was all types of nonsense, all types of false information about Islam, all types of immorality going on. Nobody can ever say anything about Abu Muslima's morality. Nothing. The man was on point when it came to establishing morality for his people. He shunned everything that was immoral in the community, and he did it in a public way. And although I took issue with him personally for some of that stuff, but I understand why he did it. Because look at where we are now. Look at the leaders that we have been replaced with. If you listen to the clip that I put on my Facebook page a couple of days ago, and his words to Abu Hassan Malik, listen to the words. He said, we don't need people like you. He said, we have too many examples of people like you have sunken our ships. He said, and what you don't understand is Allah is going to replace you with people that are better than you. He said, you don't believe it, but I believe it. Don't tell me that man wasn't on to something, man. That doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with every position he took, with every, direction he took. No, he's a man. I'm a man. I'm not a yes man. I don't agree with everything that everybody say. Hell, I don't agree with everything I say. Sometimes I give a lecture and I turn around and I say, you know what? I could have said that a little better. I could approach that a little better. I don't agree with everything I say. So what I look like agreeing with everything another man say? I'm not a yes man. I'm not a yes man. So yes, I take issue with some of the things that he's done, but overall, you cannot say that this man did not want good for African-American Muslims. Not just African-American Muslims, but his primary target was his people. His primary target was his people. Anything that was immoral, he shunned it. He said, when I became, this is a conversation that I had with Abu Musa. He said, when I became the Imam of Masjid Ahl Sunnah, which was on Lincoln Street, when he became the Imam of that community, and then they moved over and they got the new building. He said, when I became the Imam of the community, he said, when we looked at the phone bill of the masjid, the phone bill, it was upwards of $1,000. For the phone bill. He said, and on the phone bills, there were calls to, porn sites and, these 1-800 numbers or whatever. Why is this going on inside of a masjid? He came in, he knew what he was doing, man. He knew it. And because we were not ready to clean up, we weren't ready to clean up, man. And we suffered the consequences of that. And we lost 2 generations of our children as a result of that. 2 generations. That man wasn't crazy, man. Abu Musa knew exactly what he was doing. He wasn't crazy, man. We might have drove him crazy because he probably couldn't believe that the people that he made all of these sacrifices for, the people that he tried to uplift and empower and educate, would turn on him. And I guess now we understand the blueprint. That some of us as African Americans, we are our own biggest enemy. We are our own biggest enemy. Bottom line. We are our own biggest enemy. Painful. We might have drove him crazy. And it's just like, the Prophet ﷺ when, Waraqah ibn Nufal, he said to the Prophet ﷺ, he said, I wish I could live to see the day when your people turn on you. Your people turn on you. He said, I wish I could live to see the day when your people turn on you. Your people chase you out of your own city. And the Prophet ﷺ couldn't believe what Waraqah was saying. He said, "Awa mukhrijiyahum, my people gonna put me out? My people, Quraysh? Bani Hashim, my people gonna turn on me?" And Waraqah said, no man has ever come with what you're coming with except that his own people turn on him. And here we are. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Self-fulfilling prophecy. We turn on our own people. I'm just, I'm just telling you like it is, man. So this conference, is more for us, for me anyway. It means more to me. It means more to me than just a conference. It means more to me than just a conference. Some of these brothers haven't shared a stage ever. Some of these brothers have never shared a stage together. Some of these brothers have not seen each other or been in the same space with each other for decades. All because of, this fear factor that is amongst us. I don't want to be around him. I don't want to be seen with him. I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to lecture with him or lecture alongside of him. And our children are hurting as a result of this. Our children are hurting as a result of this. And we need to go back, double back, and go get our children. This talk is not about, we're done with Salafi publications and the whole stuff. We done with that. We done with that. I think that, they're done. We don't need to discuss that anymore. We've already laid the facts on the table. We don't need to discuss that anymore. Right now, we need to start putting together a blueprint for going forward. We're putting together now a blueprint for going forward. They are no longer a factor. Salafi publications, all of the people in their company, the people who support them, the people who, everybody that has anything to do with that, they are non-factors in our communities at this point. You guys shouldn't be giving them salams. You guys should not be giving them salams, because I damn sure don't give them salams. When I see them walk, I walk right past them. It's not that you boycott me, you don't give me the salams. Negro, I don't give you the salams. I don't give you salams. You kidding me? You are the deviant. I'm not. You are the deviant. Gotta be kidding me, man. Don't let nobody flip that on you, man. Did you see how we revamped the list of the people not to take from? All right, we gave a renewed list of the people not to take from. And it ain't Abu Musa, it ain't Ali Davis, it ain't Tahir Wyatt, it ain't none of them people. We renewed the list and put a renewed list out there of people not to take from. Now, we're taking our communities back, and we're not asking permission. These are our communities. These are our babies. These are our children. This is our generation. The list is on my Facebook page. I renewed it. I renewed it. Yours truly. Absolutely. You can disregard it and continue being misguided. Or you can say, hey, this actually makes a little sense here, and start using your intellect. Nah, we can't sit around and wait for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to rectify this, man. We got to rectify this. We made this mess. We made this mess. And only we can figure it. Only we can fix it. We made this mess. And the only people that can fix that is us. And this conference is not about warning again. We ain't even discussing that no more. Right now, what we discussing is how we move forward. Right now, this is, so if I'm not a black Muslim, I'm not welcome. Where'd you get that from? That has nothing to do with it. Muhammad Ibrahim, one of the speakers, is not African American. He's not African American. He's coming. He's on the panel speaking. That has nothing to do with the color. It's almost like when we say Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter does not mean that all lives don't matter. But all lives currently are not at, risk of extinction. Black lives are. You understand? So when I say we're concentrating on our communities, right? The other communities, Arab, Pakistani, Indo-Pak communities, they're doing fine. They're not being dismantled. They're not being dismantled. Our communities are. The community in Michigan, Masjid Tawheed in Michigan, right? In Dearborn. That community has been up for decades. No, they have their share of fitna that comes in and out, but nonetheless, the community is still moving forward. Why is that community still moving forward, but Abu Muslim's community was completely dismantled brick by brick until nobody prayed there? You understand what I'm saying? Why is it they get to keep their masjid in their community, even though a little bit of fitna here and there comes through? But when it comes to our communities, we have to be broken down to the smallest molecule. You understand? We're not even allowed to pray in our own masjids. We're not even allowed to take from our own imams. Think about the psychology behind that. You understand what I'm saying? Think about the psychology behind that. So this is unity in our ummah. Unity is strength and division is weakness. A weekend of Islamic knowledge, Friday, October 20th, Saturday, October 21st, Sunday, October 22nd, Friday from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m., right? There will be, the schedule is on their Facebook page. You can go to their Facebook page, Islamic Weekend Conference on Facebook. Go to their Facebook page, inshallah ta'ala. You can go to their Eventbrite page and purchase your ticket, or you can pay for your ticket at the door. For those of you heavy hitters, money makers, 6-figure, 7-figure Muslims, if you want to donate, please donate. Even if you don't want to come, but you support, what's going on. Right? Even if you want to support what's going on, please, go to the Facebook page, reach out to Sister Zakia and make a donation. A donation. They have an overhead. I mean, they're doing it at the convention center in Atlantic City. So go figure. That's not a small task. And we want brothers and sisters to come out and benefit. Even if you're not coming necessarily to learn much about Islam, just the atmosphere, just to be in the same space with people who we were told not to give salams to this one and not to give salams with that one. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been living in fear. We've been living in fear, man. Fear of one another. You see the brother, I don't want to give him the salams because I don't know what masjid what masjid you go to? You got to find out what masjid he go to before you give him the salams. Since when? Since when? And I mean, you have those of us who are, struggling. We live in environments where we don't want to be a part of that. So we're kind of stuck in our own little bubble, man, and we're dying spiritually. And that's also a part of the, part of the blueprint. Do I think it's wise to come from Cali to the conference? Only you can decide that. Only you can decide that. Your budget, And, alhamdulillah, I just want to say shout out to Sheikh Joe Bradford, mashallah. He was at mashallah, he was on Twitter yesterday, dealing with the issue of white privilege. And Joe is also a convert, Caucasian convert to Islam, who is also a graduate from the Islamic University. Mashallah, to a very strong student of knowledge, issues in finances, zakat, all of those things, man. You got any issues dealing with that? Please go see Brother Joe, Sheikh Joe. Mashallah, he dealt with a lot of those things. He will also be at the New Jersey Dawah Conference in November. That's also another conference that's coming up, alhamdulillah, that, brothers and sisters should attend and benefit from. The diversity of the speakers at the New Jersey Dawah Conference is extraordinary. Mashallah, tabarakallah. All right. So, you have a lot of good, that is, that's coming out. And inshallah, we want to benefit from that. But just being able to be in the same space with brothers and sisters that you haven't seen in years, brothers and sisters that you wouldn't have even given the salams to. You understand what I'm saying? Sister Zakia, I don't know, do you guys have a GoFundMe page? Or do you have a page where people can donate if they want to donate to the event, inshallah? Sister Zakia, I don't know if you're still on. Alhamdulillah, you don't necessarily have to be Salafi. I mean, if you follow the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ based upon the first 3 generations of Islam, then alhamdulillah, it suffices to say you're upon the right thing. Whether you call it Salafi or you don't call it Salafi, it is what it is. Your PayPal account is on the she said they'll post the info. They'll post the info, inshallah, on the Facebook page. But go to the Facebook page, Islamic Weekend Conference, Unity in our Ummah. Unity is strength and division is weakness. Right. We ain't got to get into all of the names. You on the Quran, Sunnah, and the understanding of the Sahaba, you on the right thing. You on the right path. Alhamdulillah. We ain't got to put no name on that, man. We ain't miss me with all of that. Because in a minute, everybody that's saying they Salafi right now, I guarantee you, in very, very soon, you're going to be singing a different tune. I guarantee you. Because they about to shut all that stuff down. Because you Salafis have served your purpose. And they don't necessarily need you anymore. You've served your purpose. Your purpose was to keep people bamboozled. Your purpose was to keep people confused with all of this Sheikh warning and Sheikh said and this one and that one. And that was your purpose. And now they have a new agenda. They have a new agenda. Yeah. And so everybody who was running with the hardcore Salafi, Ethity, all that other stuff, yeah. You now become the extremists. Pay attention. Stay woke. Stay woke. If you don't know what I'm talking about right now, then just stay asleep. Now I want you to pay attention, man. Pay attention. Pay attention. They just set up a new institute in Riyadh to start changing the curriculum in Saudi Arabia. So all of the Muhammad Abdul Wahab books, all the Salafi, Ethity, all that other stuff, man, they getting ready to get rid of all of that stuff. Because it served its purpose. Now, all of the people that was hollering Salafi, 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 they're going to turn the finger on you. Now you become the extremist. Now we got to get rid of you. Stay woke. And then you wonder why, you know what I'm saying? Like, people trying to tell you, man. Like, y'all don't want to listen, man. Y'all don't want to listen. I mean, pay attention, man. You can keep running with the, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got to put all that whole label stuff on it. You follow the Quran and the Sunnah based upon the understanding of the Salaf al-Salih, based upon the understanding of the first 3 generations of Islam. Suffice it to say that your poem was correct. Miss me with all of the terminologies, and you got to wave the flag or whatever the case may be. You make yourself a target, man. You make yourself a target. Pay attention, man. Stay woke. Because now you're going to really become a target. And I guarantee you, when you're sitting behind bars, I guarantee you, and they calling you an extremist, guarantee you all that Salafi stuff go out the window. Because a lot of you dudes ain't even built like that. You ain't built like that. You're going to be singing a new tune, I guarantee you. Guarantee you. See, we'll champion a cause until we got to suffer for it. You can say what you want to say. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. You can say whatever you want to say. But keep going on. You Ibn Ethity, Salafi, keep going. Go ahead. Do you. Okay, cool. So moving right along. So Islamic Weekend Conference, inshallah ta'ala, at the Sheraton Atlantic City Convention Center Hotel. Inshallah ta'ala, go to their Facebook page, inshallah. And hopefully they can answer any questions that you have for them, inshallah. Let me see if I can pull up the Friday schedule. Okay, so the Friday schedule is, and all of the stuff is there on the website. 1 p.m. there will be Jumu'ah that will be there at the convention center. Jumu'ah will be held at the convention center. All right, 2 to 4 p.m. will be hotel check-in, conference registration at the Sheraton AC Convention Center Hotel. 4 p.m. conference will be opened by resident Imam Bilal Salam. 5 p.m. lecture will be given by Abu Dhahira, Unity in Our Ummah. 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Maghrib will be Maghrib and Isha prayer and dinner. A lecture will be given Friday night by Imam Muhammad ibn Munir, Mufti, prophetic narrations on unity. 9 p.m. The Maradiyah show, right, where we will have a panel. Myself, I will be interviewing Abu Osama, Mufti, Munir, and Ali Davis. You can go to the Eventbrite page and register. Yes. You can go to the Eventbrite page and register. Are meals being sold, Sister Zakia? Are they selling, is there vending or whatever the case may be for food? Sister Zakia, can you also post the link to the Facebook page on here so people can, yes, families with small children, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, you can kind of come and, fill it out and, no, the food will not be through the conference, but the food will be halal, right? The food will be halal, right? Unity upon batil. You see what I'm saying? You always got one person, man, that just don't want to see no good. You would much rather see our children with tattoos in the club, not practicing Islam, smoking weed. You would much rather see our children like that than to see them back in the masjid, learning their religion, practicing their religion. You understand what I'm saying? You would much rather, you don't want to see any unity. You much rather see us, right, fragmented and continue on the way that we will. But as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, that if the heavens and the earth was consistent with your desires, then everything in the heavens and the earth would have been corrupted. Alhamdulillah, it's not according to your desires, no matter how much you dislike it. It's all good, because you can't stop it. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed for us at this moment, and we're taking every advantage of it. We don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know how many of our children we're going to be able to save, but better believe we're taking every advantage of it, without a doubt. We're taking every advantage of it right now, this very moment. It is what it is. The momentum is here, and we're taking advantage of it. We're going to get our children out of the streets, out of the clubs, get our girls back in overgarments instead of twerking and doing twerk videos on Instagram. We're getting our brothers out of the clubs. We're getting our brothers out of the tattoo parlors. We getting them out. And I know some of us, we hate that. We hate to see that. We hate to see that. Some of y'all hate to see our children doing the right thing. And we're good when we see them astray, when we see them lost. And there's some people, they happy with that. They happy to see our children astray. No. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Any other questions, inshallah ta'ala, we'll stop. I said I was only going to be a half hour. When we come into Philly with it, Philly, y'all got to clean house, though, man. Y'all got to get these dudes out of Philly, man. Y'all got to clean house, man. Y'all got to clean house, man. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of this stuff, man, is rooted in Philadelphia, man. And y'all got to clean house. Philly, y'all got to clean house, man, because a lot of this stuff is rooted in y'all city, man. Get them dudes up out of Philadelphia, man. Reclaim your city, man. Reclaim your city, Philadelphia. Philly, stand up and reclaim your city, man. These dudes have taken over Philadelphia. These dudes have turned brothers in Philly that used to be real good dudes, that used to be real good Muslims, practicing Muslims, God-fearing Muslims, man, have made them immoral. Have made them immoral. And this is why sisters can't find, adequate spouses. This is why, our children are out there being raised by single mothers. Nah, man. We gotta reclaim our communities, man. Reclaim our communities, man. Stand up and tell these brothers that you do not represent our communities. You gotta go. You gotta go. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome here. You don't represent our communities. You don't represent our struggle. You don't represent our pain. You don't represent our dysfunction. As a matter of fact, you are the cause of our dysfunction. You are the cause of our pain. And you have to go. You got to go. We don't want you here no more. We don't want you here no more. That's it. When I was the imam in 15th Street, they came in with their little, 2, 3 of them or whatever the case may be, and I had to just tell them straight up as the imam, you're not going to do that here. The whole, praying on the musalla with your shoes on, Sheikh Al-Albani said, man, miss me with all of that. You can, man, step. Not here. Ain't happening. You got the right idea, wrong person, wrong masjid. Not going to happen. And guess what they did? They left. They left. Absolutely. They left. When imams stand up on their own too and they take that position, you don't have to. Eventually the walls will start closing in on them. They won't have too many places to go. But you won't have too many men that will step up and do that, man. I knew it was going to be a problem. The day I stepped foot in 15th Street Masjid, I saw him in the Musalla. I saw him on the Musalla. I saw him. I knew it was going to be a problem. It was just a matter of time. They would never say nothing to me, never give me the salams. They would nothing. Not that it mattered, but I knew there was only a matter of time before I had to put my foot down. And you got to go. Period. You got to go. Will authentic statements be there to tape the program? You funny. Authentic statements is unauthentic statements. Unauthentic statements. You're not welcome. You're not welcome. Period. You're not welcome. Right. So inshallah ta'ala we'll stop here. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama tasliman kathira. Wa akhiru da'wana walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Inshallah ta'ala, looking forward to seeing you guys. Looking forward to seeing you guys, inshallah ta'ala, October 20th, 21st, 22nd, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Book your rooms, inshallah ta'ala. Book your rooms and, get your tickets, inshallah. If you don't even want to come, but you want to make a donation, inshallah, Sister Zakia, you can reach out to her, inshallah ta'ala, so that you can make some donations to, I said 30 minutes, right? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. That's all right, Ibn Ethity, because the thing is I blocked you before, so I'm going to block you again. And every single time you come on my page, I'm going to keep blocking you. And the thing I don't understand is if you were told not to take from me, I'm astray. Why in the hell are you on my page? Why are you on my page? Cool, I got you. Don't worry about it. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.